Hello, this is a Start a Quest podcast. This episode is all about loot, starting with what do you do if you've accidentally given out an item which is too powerful for the party? Maybe you worry that this new item and this new power will let them trivialize some of the challenges you want to put before them. You probably have a couple of ideas in your head already about how you might mitigate this problem. Maybe you could level up the world around them. Maybe you could take the item away. Maybe you could nerf the item and just make it less powerful. But Sydney today will challenge me on whether this is even a problem at all. Who cares if the party has a powerful item like a Vorpal Sword? Because it all kind of depends on what kind of game you're playing. There are some kinds of game where the Vorpal Sword would be a disruptive force and maybe you need to have a conversation about it. But there are other types of game where it's fine if the party is super powerful and can decapitate enemies on the roll of a 20. But this discussion is also about loot and treasure in general. And one of my favorite disagreements that we had today is that I do not like encumbrance, but I like attunement. And Sydney is the opposite. Sydney likes encumbrance, but doesn't like attunement. And I just think that's such an amazing clash of two strange opinions. Because when you think about it, encumbrance and attunement are very, very similar. So if you haven't already, please sign up for the newsletter at start-a-quest.com. And the point where I will drop you into the episode, Sydney is asking me to define what the problem with a Vorpal Sword is at all. And I'm just going through what the abilities do. Hey, here's the theme song.
It's you and me, we're sailing on the sea in a friendship on an adventure. It's fantasy, who do you want to be? Now the walls are falling away. I could play a bard with a broken heart, you could play a rogue cause you stole our boat. So head out west, now time to start a quest and party up with your friends.
So, a Vorpal Sword, you want them to experience it. It's this big thing. Let's imagine they've got context behind it. You give it to them and they're happy. So, problem solved, right?
No, because the Vorpal Sword is disproportionately powerful in that Vorpal Sword is a +3 sword. Okay. So it adds the big number, and that's to damage and to hit. Mm-hmm. If you roll a 20 and maybe even a 19, I'm not sure, it one-shot kills. The rules say if this creature has a head, it no longer has a head.
The flowchart is, does this creature have a head? If yes, no.
Yeah, if yes, no. but now the player says, I'm going to find and chop off the biggest head. And it's D&D, it's imagination stuff. There's rules and monsters in the book, but all of those rules and monsters literally are just numbers configured in different ways. And I could, as a dungeon master, I can reconfigure the entire world to accommodate your Vorpal Sword. And I think that's maybe the solution that a lot of dungeon masters go down. They go, I've given the players this awful thing.
Right.
And now I need to accommodate, the world needs to accommodate that.
Yes.
That's not fun.
It's not, it's a solution that's really common is you see my monk is punching everyone to death with their 708 damage. Okay, make every enemy fly so they can't reach them.
Yeah.
My Vorpal Sword is no enemies have heads anymore. No heads.
Yeah, that sucks. Not only does that suck for the player, a feeling of going, you're now playing against me clearly in a way that I can see. You're the dungeon master is now being antagonistic to my playstyle.
Right.
It is also just not a fun thing for the dungeon master to do.
It's
just like some bookkeeping. It's like, I got to move all these sliders up. It sucks. There's another solution as well. Somebody steals it. You lose the Vorpal Sword.
Right.
Can I nerf the sword? Can I go, hey, what if I go, players, look, I gave you the sword. I love it. And I want you to keep the sword. I'm not taking the sword away, but it is more powerful than I thought. And I would like just to go, it's only if you roll a crit when you have advantage that you chop off a head. And it's now a +1. Do you reckon that's going to be a negative experience? Am I taking something away from the player when I do that?
you're not taking because you're having a conversation. So at worst, you're like negotiating. But I think this comes to a really interesting point about like, I want to nerf the sword. Where do I start? What am I looking at? What do I need to nerf about it? And the answer is, in most cases, the item is probably going to be disruptive, but not actually that big a problem. Because so the conversation comes back to, what game are we playing?
Yeah.
And if we have said, we've all sat down and we're a team and we've come up with this idea and we're like, okay, we've all been working together for ages. And then one of our party who moved to Queensland, that player's character has become an evil wizard, and we are all going to hunt down and kill our old friend. And it's this really heartfelt thing, and it's going to be a huge adventure. We're going to do it for 2 years. It's going to be great. And then when you get to them, the person with the Vorpal Sword is like, oh, I crit and I guess I kill him in one blow. And you look around the table, and the question there is like, is that the story that we wanted? Like, is that satisfying? Is that enjoyable?
In that instant, there's a chance that the answer is yes, though.
It might be.
Like this story of like, here's an ex-adventurer friend that we have an emotional connection to, and I have turned my deadliest weapon, the deadliest weapon in the known universe, upon them and ended them.
Yeah.
Like that's sad. But like, you made me think that, like, you asked what kind of game are we playing? I think that made me think of, why do I want to nerf the sword is because it's too good at combat. But the sword is specifically designed because somebody went, what is the best thing that can possibly exist in a combat? It is this item.
Yes.
And then like, there are other items below that power level that are like, maybe these are meant to have a bit of push and pull, and they're meant to be minimally powerful or just like tangentially powerful. But this one is the most powerful.
Yeah, it's the sword. Yeah.
And if you're giving this to your players, you're saying, I want to see what you can do with this in combat.
Right. And so when we talk about like the negotiation of like, what are we fixing? I think the axis you want to fix it is like, if they're really excited, if they've never crit with this thing before and they're like really excited to do it, that's a great tool and technique because they're going to look forward to it. They're going to keep hoping every combat, and when it finally happens, it's going to be this big moment. But if the player gets to the point that they are no longer enjoying the rhythm of the thing, but they feel tied to it because it's good, because it's the best,
and you can't take a step backwards.
They have optimized. They're in a position where, and we've spoken before about it being like antisocial to be suboptimal in D&D. They've gotten to a position where they've optimized the fun out of the game. I would recommend in the conversation, don't start with, how do I take this away from you so that you have fun? Start with, what can we add to make this fun?
I see. And that thing we're adding is going to be the challenge of being pursued. And then so this thing that I've enjoyed, it's still integral to my character, it's just integral in a different way. And especially because then the player might say, ooh, I don't want to use my Vorpal Sword in this fight because I don't want to show it off.
Right.
And so self-imposed limitations, it's a different way to enjoy the same item.
Yeah,
but
it provides a different context.
But you don't get to unilaterally decide that for the player. They're going to decide what's fun for them. And what you were saying earlier about players optimizing the fun out of a game, sometimes they will think something will be fun for them, and they might be wrong.
Might be very wrong. Yeah.
Because they might go, oh, I really love combat. I want something that makes me really great at combat. Yeah. Now I'm really great at combat. Now combat isn't fun.
Yes.
And we see the way they're linked, but a player won't. There is something kind of incongruous in there. And when you're in the feeling of it, the player won't be able to understand why combat is not fun. Sometimes.
And sometimes they will, and that sort of thing. And like players who have played D&D for a long time, you'll often see them do things like, I want to be a high charisma wizard or something like that, where they'll
play against type.
They'll play against type, or they'll create self-imposed limitations like, I just want to be an ice wizard. I will only use ice spells.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that like, you want to give them, and you want to look at what they're enjoying, and you want to give them something else to pursue and something else to do. And it needs to feel additive. And this is like what I've referred to you before as like loot inflation.
Yeah.
Because all of the other players are going to be saying, this isn't fun for us because Biffo the fighter has the Vorpal Sword and I'm over here casting cantrips.
Yeah. It's like, okay, maybe we could sneak up on this, guys. And Biffo goes, no, I could just Vorp him. Okay, how are we gonna break the wizard out of jail? I reckon I could probably Vorp through this one.
Yeah, and contextually, so like the Vorpal Sword being on a crit, it kills them straight out, but it's also pretty good as like a regular sword.
Yeah.
At least creates some sense of like uncertainty. There are things out there that if you go looking for them as like broken combos or whatever, it'd be like, we will even not loot, but like we
multi-class stuff.
Yeah, or like we polymorph him and then we swallow him, or we stuff him in a bag of holding, or whatever. Like
dumb stuff.
And those things are more reliable. And so it'll be like, what's the problem? There's a guard. Okay, run plan alpha.
But players do that. Well,
They do.
Some players do that. But like, also think that might be like an experience or maturity thing of like understanding the exercise that we're doing and why we're playing the game. And like, I think players do grow out of it. When I was 13, I would do that crap. It would be like, no, I want to try and win every situation and I want the best tools to do so. We were talking about like, the Vorpal Sword becomes every solution and the other players don't get to really do their things.
Yeah.
We have an asymmetrical power distribution in the party.
Yes.
I love the idea of having like players of wildly different power levels. I want to pitch all my favorite campaign idea I've never done.
Okay.
So you play a prince. You are a level 2 fighter.
Yes.
And in every single kind of like charisma situation, you have the most authority and you're going to be called on to do that kind of stuff.
Yes.
All the other players are your level 8 bodyguards.
Yes.
And they're going to prevent you from getting assassinated.
Yes.
So you are probably going to have the instinct to go like, well, people are going to come after you. I'm going to be tough. But you're also going to be you're the prince. You got to be charismatic.
This is very good.
Do you like this?
This is very good. Yeah, I played a similar game of Burning Wheel.
Yeah.
Where I was playing, because Burning Wheel is a life path system and you can end up with characters that are wildly disparate in terms of their power and also like social class, which is the other thing you're taking into here. And I was a knight who was a bodyguard for 2 like witches, but I mean like village witches, like
Head witches.
head witches, right? And so they were going somewhere to perform a death ritual for someone, and on the way, whenever they were like fighting things and all this stuff, I was really tough and strong. And then whenever it was like, okay, now we need to figure out how to eat, or we need to figure out what berries are poisonous, I was dead weight. And so this is a thing. There's 2 different ways that things can be different in games. There's difference in scale and difference in kind.
Scale and kind.
Yeah.
So scale would be, we're doing the same thing, but my number's bigger.
Yes.
Different in kind is you can walk and I can fly.
Yes.
But like, I guess my point is that the Vorpal Sword makes different power levels in the party, and that asymmetry can be worrying, not just the fact that one player is having too much influence in combat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm saying that like with this prince situation, that's power differences that I think are really interesting.
Yes.
I guess the problem with the power difference here that the Dungeon Master might be imagining when they give a Vorpal Sword out is that this player is now cutting off the play of the other players. But honestly, this is more of a human situation, a human problem. And it's like, yeah, if you give the Vorpal Sword to someone that sucks, they're going to do things that suck with it. But do you know what? If you didn't give the Vorpal Sword to a player that sucks, they're still going to do things that suck.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made that like, if we all came here to play the combat game and in the first turn you cut the dragon's head off, or if we all came here to have the pathos of having to fight our dear friend wizard who moved to Bundaberg, that you are being antisocial by removing that that experience of pathos from the other players. I think that's a fair argument to make, right? I I don't disagree with it. And I think that where I sort of challenge that last point from you is that there is no pro-social way to do it. Like the player is just rolling and is like, I'm sorry, I got a 20.
It's tricky, but there is a kind of process that you go through in your brain with Dungeons and Dragons anyway, about when you ask someone to roll a dice. And when you ask someone to roll a dice for a D20, you need to be okay with them succeeding and you need to be okay with them failing. Yes. And when you give somebody a Vorpal Sword, you need to be okay with them succeeding
with
the Vorpal Sword.
With the head cutting off, yeah. Yeah,
so,
with them Vorpaling, yeah.
So unless you are okay with it, don't give it out. And if you have already given out, that's also fine.
Yeah. I think the solutions for me in terms of like, I've given someone a Vorpal Sword, is my campaign ruined? The answer is always going to be no, because the campaign is actually not a rigid thing. It is an experiential, aesthetic experience of the people at the table. And your opportunities are boundless, and there are many opportunities that are in pursuit of fun. The way you ruin a campaign with a Vorpal Sword is you give it to a player, and then you're like, while you were asleep, someone stole your Vorpal Sword. Oh, and also it's out of charges. Yeah. Oh, and that enemy is immune to head cut off.
Yeah, it sucks.
Disease. Like, all of that's nonsense. It's a degree of antagonism. And you and I have been using the term like more game, less game a little bit. And I really like it. And every time you say to them, oh no, your Vorpal Sword doesn't work here, it's less game.
Yeah.
Unless you have some deep structures built into it. Your idea of like, this thing does really good psychic damage, get used to it. Here's a creature that's immune to psychic damage is more game.
I told you that story. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it again. Start of the game, I gave my players a +2 Sun Sword that did psychic damage. And it was like a green crackling energy that came out of it because they had a piece of the Shattered Obelisk with them, right? And my fighter character, got used to it the whole game. It was so good. But I knew as a dungeon master that the final boss is a Mind Flayer god that is immune to psychic damage. And I just wanted to...
Did the players know that?
No.
Cool.
But I did give them opportunity. Like, this is clearly an evil weapon. And I gave them opportunities to like swap it out with a gooder weapon or like a more sentimental weapon throughout the adventure, hoping eventually they'd go like, no, I'll put this aside and go back to my roots. And if they made that decision, they were going to be rewarded by not having to overcome this thing in the moment of going, I hit them 5 times and it does no damage. Oh God, what other weapons do I have in my character sheet?
Yeah.
Which would have been I think would have been a really panicky moment. But my player actually did at the last moment make the decision to trade out for his old weapon, which was great.
And then like, did the player make that connection in play?
No. What a shame. But they did get the enjoyment of like, I've been using this weapon, but this isn't who I am. This is who I am.
And that's great.
I'm a different sword.
I'm still sword man. I am just different sword. Yeah. Oh, God. I love this story. I love so much of it. I love that moment you captured. And like I said, it wasn't the player moving away from power. It was the player moving toward sentimentality or toward identity or
toward play.
Yeah. Toward more game. And I think this is always the key to this. The example that I really like is I played the hell out of Diablo 3.
Okay.
Like just tore its arms off. I think that was during COVID for me. That was like my game of choice. And there's they were really big on set bonuses. So this wasn't as much a thing in 2.
It was a big thing. It was a big thing.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
I never really got great at 2.
In 2, there were set bonuses. People were very rarely running around for the whole set, but you go, these 2 pieces give me a little bit of something that I want. So you'd have bits and pieces of several sets.
So in Diablo 3, set bonuses have a sort of set identity, right? Where it's like, this is the mountain, the Thane of the Mountain King or whatever, and you get the 2 Mountain King pieces, and your Earthquake, Barbarian Earthquake is better. You get 4, and your Barbarian Earthquake spawns more earthquakes, and you get 6, and earthquake stuns enemies or whatever. So like they're additive, the idea. So it creates a sense of identity, and you can mix and match, but like they're stronger together for the most part. So the thing that I love about set bonuses is like I'm a leap barbarian. I just leap everywhere, and then I frenzy, and then I leap and I frenzy, and I leap and I frenzy. That's all I do. Or I'm a fire wizard. I'm just using fire because it has the best damage stats. And then loot drops, and I get the set that says you deal double ice damage, but you deal no damage that isn't ice damage anymore. The only damage you can deal is ice. Mm-hmm. I'm like, whoa, I have to completely rethink my approach.
Yeah. You found an item that changed the way you thought of your character.
Yes.
And the way your character played.
Yes.
So like the soft and the hard gameplay.
Yeah. And so like when I think about giving the fighter a Vorpal Sword, I get it. I do. But for me, that's always like the least interesting choice.
Give the wizard
a Vorpal Sword, right? Like there is something about, hey wizard, here's a sword, or here's a suit of armor that gives you 15 AC, 18 AC, whatever. It gives you armor class that puts you on par with the fighter, but all of your spell ranges are now touch.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that.
That's
right?
good loot.
That's good loot.
That's story loot. And do you know what? I don't know if that's powerful or not. And the only way to find out is to go, let's run it a couple of times, boys.
Yeah. And like, I think when we talk about powerful or not, there is a version of the player whose only goal is strict optimization.
Yeah.
And they are going to be like, you know, on Reddit being like, oh, what's my attunement limit? 2? What 2 magic items are the most broken together?
Well, I like that you brought up set pieces and Diablo 3 because that has an attunement limit in the sense that you only have so many slots that you're fitting in.
Yeah.
You can't wear the Immortal King set and Tal Rashes because they both need an amulet and a helm and a body, and you've only got slot for one of each. Mm-hmm. Attunement is the kind of handbrake, the throttle that the Dungeon Master has on these magic items. The player's going to have... You don't like attunement.
I hate attunement so much.
Do you like encumbrance?
I understand encumbrance.
I'm the exact opposite. And do you know what? I hate you.
That's fair. So I don't like encumbrance. Like, I don't want to be counting gold pieces. I don't want to be counting like rocks, arrows, whatever. What I care about is like that Vorpal Sword is a great sword. And so it's big. And so it's bulky and it's hard to carry. Like, that's what I care about when it comes to encumbrance. I care about like...
I'm okay with that.
The fictional relevance of like, we're going to swim over there. You are carrying 600 pounds of treasure.
Yeah.
You aren't swimming anywhere.
You are going to be somebody else's loot.
Yeah. I have a swim speed of 30. No.
You have a drowning speed of now.
Drowning speed of immediate. Oh, that's the thing of like, so encumbrance for me, in the same way we're talking about these set pieces thing, is fictionally afforded. It's like, you can only wear one helm. Why? Because you only have one head.
But my issue with encumbrance, as it exists in Dungeons and Dragons, where you track the numbers and you add up how much weight you can, is that I will screw that up. I will lose track, and then I also can't imagine, I can't conceptualize those numbers. They're written in pounds, which I don't have an intuitive understanding of. So I literally just can't do it, and I will fail the bookkeeping. Therefore, I don't like it, and I also don't like my players to do it.
I think that's fair.
Attunement, I can deal with that bookkeeping because it's so simple. You can fit 3 items on you, and some items use attunement and some items don't. And I think the only distinction between them is they go, we didn't really want to have to balance this item very, very hard.
But what if I fail the bookkeeping of which items don't require attunement?
I think that counting to 3, I reckon I got that one.
I think that is...
Do you think I'm wrong?
No, I think it's entirely fair. I don't love how 5th edition does encumbrance. I like the idea of encumbrance. As a concept. I think the idea of attunement I haven't found a version of attunement where I'm like, that speaks to me as an interesting part of gameplay.
Well, here's something interesting. Your loot says, like your loot and your items and your magic items and your mundane items says something about your character, right? It says something about your character. Most of the stuff that you're tracking with encumbrance in D&D, I got my backpack, it's got a rope, I've got rations, I've got torches, and I've never opened this backpack and I'm never going to use them. That's the style of D&D as it is currently, where players don't really need their stuff.
Yes.
But their magic items do say something about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think of my wife's bard in Curse of Strahd, and I think of her necklace of fireballs that was a complete liability. And we gave it to her because she was playing a teenage runaway who was the least responsible. And we wanted to see what the character with the least respect for consequences would do with this awful thing that we gave them, right?
Love that.
That item said something about her. And when I think about her, I think of her wearing that item. So when you come to me with a limitation of you've only got 3 items, which is a low number, you are going to have more options for those items than you are going to have slots.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to trade stuff out strategically. And not only that, you're going to end up trading those items with the other characters. When Meg, my bard, gives your prince the necklace of fireball, what does that say? There's something that was important to me and I'm giving it to you. Like, I don't know. That's play to me.
I think this is amazing. I think this is great. I think that there are some things in it that are not in text. And I think a great example of that is like a necklace of fireball, I don't actually think says anything about a character.
What the heck and heck?
The idea of a very destructive, object being given to a teenage runaway does say something. But like, I think it's the same thing I was saying before about like a +1 longsword doesn't say anything about a character. But like a sword that is magical because it was handed to me by the Lady of the Lake says something about my character. Me giving the prince receiving a +1 longsword is like maybe symbolic, but like not really particularly interesting. But you giving me the Watch Captain's sword, which was forged in the blood of traitors or whatever, like that now has more sentiment and meat in it. And yeah, we can build that sentiment by like bringing our character and building it through play. But I always feel unsatisfied when the answer is like, just be better at the table. Just play good.
Here's a gameplay moment that happened. I was playing a character who had a goal, rescue my sister from this volcano. And we went on maybe like 5 or 6 dungeons, and eventually I rescued my sister. And then I went to the team. I was like, I think my character's going to take his sister home.
Yeah.
Right? And
yeah,
I left. And my character's name was Eric, and I had my magical shield, my magical sword. And the party went like, oh, Eric, do you need that shield and sword? I said to the party, I'm like, guys, this is Eric's stuff. He's gone. I'll play a new character. I'll join a team. But these items that were Eric's items, he was shield bashing people and he was a knight. He had a magical sword. I'm like, those are Eric's. He used them the whole game. We found them. We distributed them. We decided where they wanted to go in the party. And even though another player could have gotten use out of it, I'm like, Eric's leaving the story now and he's taking his stuff.
Was that an antisocial disavowal of game?
I reckon I really pissed them off. I reckon I pissed some of them off. Actually, I will ask them.
I don't know if you did the right thing or the wrong thing. And I think from this position, we can absolutely say that you did the right thing, but whatever. But yeah, I'm not surprised that some people were pissed off. I think this is worth talking about with loot as well, is that in Diablo, you get those set items from the end boss. Yeah. You have to fight the hardest monster to get the best gear. Yes. And then the game says, would you like to try Nightmare 2? And you go and you fight the hardest thing again. There is a difficult affordance in games where the best rewards should come from the final and hardest challenges, but then that gives us the least amount of time to play with them. You know those games where like they give you the BFG in the final fight or the final level.
Yes.
Like, I wish I had this the whole time.
And the feeling I always get is like you just trivialized I didn't earn this much power, and you just trivialized all my efforts.
I think trivialize is the right word there, because if it was possible to do that the whole time, why didn't we just do that?
Yeah.
If that was an option the whole time, why? Like, if at the end of the Power Rangers thing you can form them all together and then you get the Megazord and then you attack them, why didn't you just start there?
Why didn't we just fly the Eagles to Mordor?
Exactly.
Eagles,
and I'm sure there's a deep lore reason for it.
Oh, dude, if you read Lord of the Rings, it's 10 pages. It's the best book ever.
And we need to acknowledge this. The thing that we're doing, elf games.
Yeah.
Very silly.
So dumb.
Very silly.
Silly.
But it's allowed to be silly and we're allowed to have fun.
Yay.
We're allowed to enjoy things.
Okay.
But it reveals the silliness.
And the players pretend it's serious by going, I need the Vorpal Sword because it's really important that my character win and be the most powerful and effective agent of my will in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not fun. Do you know what's fun? So, hey, let's roll this table and see what happens. We're all in this together. Oh, what do you know? There's a Vorpal Sword on this table. You rolled 0-0. You graduate to the next table and you roll 0-0 on that. Now you get the Vorpal Sword. Holy crap, that's such... I'm going to remember this forever, you guys. That's great.
It's totally changed things, yeah.
And it's changed things. That's so cool. And do you know what? We'll play this for a while and later we'll do something else. Because we're just hanging out with our mates, right? The loot says something about the way we play, and the way we play says something about the kind of relationships that we have.
The real treasure was the friends we made along the way.
The real treasure was the friends we made along the way. That's why everybody should get out there and start a quest, start-a-quest.com.